Welcome back, everyone. I got all these newbies with me right now. I have with me Alan Bartinioli, and he is the owner of Travel With Me, Alan B, LLC. You couldn't have had a longer name. Welcome to the show. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what we're going to talk about now today.
Well, I'm a travel advisor, local travel advisor. I have a full service agency. I can do everything from soup to nuts for helping somebody plan a trip, but I also have some specialties in the area of Italy and Europe, Southern Europe especially, the Caribbean. Also I can do group tours, and cruises are a big part of my business as well.
I like it. Soup to nuts when it comes to traveling. I want to talk a little bit about your client. Who is that client?
You know, if you are somebody, I'll tell you who my client isn't. It's somebody who loves sitting in front of the computer for endless hours, going through blog posts and listening to different podcasts. If you're that person, I'm probably not a big help to you because you love doing it. But if it's just the idea of sitting in front of a computer for hours upon hours, the average person takes about 50 hours to plan a week to 2 week long trip.
Wow.
And I could take that down to about a week, listen to them, put everything together for them, save them time, often save them money, and then put together a trip that in some places where they wouldn't even thought to do things that
right.
I know about.
You are in the know.
Yep.
When it comes to that.
And
now,
I also have access to things that the average person doesn't have access to.
Right. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to calling a travel agent. Why call someone that's local here, not someone on television?
Right. Well, because that also you're talking to a big box company, and the same things that you run into big box companies you won't run into with me. You're going to call me, I'm going to see your name pop up on my phone if you have a challenge. I have a client right now in Italy said they wanted to cancel one of their tours and change their plans. I was able to do that. They didn't have to interrupt their trip at all.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Now write this number down. He works nationwide. It's 602-882-8638. His website is travelwithme-alanb.com. And I think that right now, when people I want to talk about your tours. I'm going to take you away from your questions for a second. There's a lot of different type of travel. There's cruises, right? There's riverboat, right? Do you help with all, or do you specialize in a certain area?
No, so cruising is the different companies like Viking has river cruises. Windstar has more sailboat type of stuff. I also do the big box cruises, the RCL,
Disney,
Royal Caribbean. I do Disney. I'm on board with all those guys, Carnival, Norwegian, and then I've been on many of those trips too, so I have insider scoop as well.
I want to talk about what itinerary planning is.
So somebody calls me and says, I want to take a trip to X. I have no idea. I just always wanted to go there. I don't know where to begin. Well, then I ask them, do you want it to be in all the major places that the tourists go to? Do you want it to be more personal and intimate? And I curate their desires, their vision for a trip and what they think they'd like to accomplish, and I put that together for them. Everything from, if they need me to help with the airfare, I can do that, but the hotels, the tours, the things to do, the flow, keeping it smooth so that it goes from one thing seamlessly to another.
How far in advance do they need to start booking things?
Well, I have people who do look for things at the last second, but the primo hotels and the best prices aren't available to them, so sometimes we get stuck a little bit. But I would say 5 months to 6 months is an ideal time to really, if you're going to another country or some hotspot like Yellowstone National Park, something like that, then I think you need to be at least 5 to 6 months out.
I have to tell you, right now, a lot of people out there are getting out. They want to get out of here.
Travel's hot.
It's hot?
It's incredible.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. It's safe now. It's all of that. Let's talk about that for a second.
Sure. I mean, post-COVID, I think people woke up realizing that I don't have any guarantees that these plans that I have for the future can go on forever. They might get shut down just like that. And then people just said, I'm doing it. I'm going to take these trips. Italy is amazingly popular right now, anywhere in Southern Europe, because not only is it it's wonderful to go see the history, the people, the food, but it's also very inexpensive. So all you got to do is get there. And the longer you're there, the less your flight cost becomes, because it just sort of gets spread over the amount of time that you're there.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I help people with all that kind of information, and then also know how to look for flights in a way that helps them with the timing of when the least expensive flights are there.
His phone number to call is 602-882-8638. 8638. He happens to help you from soup to nuts. He's on social media as well. You can check him out there. He works nationwide. His website is travelwithme-allen, ALLENB.com. Now, this is the company I want to work for whenever I end up working for somebody, because it says a business that wants to plan an annual trip. I'm in.
Yeah.
Right?
So there is such a thing as business travel.
They do all the time. It's great. It's a wonderful thing to offer.
And a lot of times the companies bust to have somebody on board who does all that stuff for them, but a lot of times they're pulling somebody out of doing their regular job to put together all the details for this trip.
Right.
And they may be going to some big venue where I can work directly with that venue and take care of all those things for them. Also, let's say they wanted to use cruise ships, are very popular for business travel. I work directly with that cruise company, and they help me to understand what the benefits are, when they're going to get their discount breaks, and all those kind of things. And at times I could even go on that cruise as not as the cruise director, but as their business trip director, and help them to know, okay, this is where you're going to be here, this is where you're going to be then. I can do all those things for them.
I want to talk about people wanting to get out and doing maybe a small cruise. Maybe they don't want to be gone for 6 to 10 days. They want something small. Can you help with that too? Does it matter?
No, I don't care. I just had one of my friends called me this morning and said, my son's taking a 4-day cruise this summer.
They're nice.
Yeah,
they're cheap and cheerful.
And if you've never cruised before, it's a great way to find out whether it's for you or not. And there's a 4-day cruise just right out of California that does a Ensenada and
I've done it. It's
Avalon.
Really nice. Yeah.
And if you want to find out, that's the place to go. That's the one to take.
It's a great starter.
And you can drive there if you want.
Now, again, that phone number to call, put the number in your phone under reputable, you're a travel agent or a travel advisor.
I like travel advisor. Yeah, but they're interchangeable words. They don't mean something different.
602-882-8638. So you mentioned saving people time, and with people on the internet now, how do you save them time?
So we have a partnership through Fora. Fora is the company that I'm onboarded with, and there's partnerships with a company called Virtuoso, and they have special deals that they make with all the industry that they're connected with. So many of the cruise lines, hotel industry, I can call them up and say, hey, I'm a Fora travel advisor, and they're going to work with me directly. There was a guy who had a particular all-inclusive that he wanted. Why should I work with a travel agent? Well, I was able not only to tell him, hey, you can call me, I'm going to be the one that emails the people in Mexico, I'm going to be the one that talks to them if I need to call.
I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, I call them, and then I was able to talk to their reservation people and say, hey, I'm a Fora travel advisor, how can I sweeten the pot for this guy?
Oh, that's of course.
And I was able to save them a couple $100 on their trip, and it was done at that point. We booked it.
I want to tell people out there how important it is to have somebody who's a travel advisor help you. I really truly believe that. I know for me, I was listening to somebody else who said, oh, you got to go on this trip, right? And it was a fantastic idea and all of that. But I wasn't going as long as they were going, so I had a little bit shorter amount of time, but I did what they said. I ended up wasting like 2 or 3 days on something that I could have easily flown from Italy to Greece instead of taking a boat and whatever.
Right.
And you don't know what you don't know is my point. That's why calling somebody like you is great, because you know all the ins and outs. You've done a lot of it yourself probably. You've been there. You can help them by doing the right thing the first time and not being sorry afterwards.
But I also have an endless amount of resources behind me in the Fora community. There's thousands of travel advisors who have been all over the world to places I've never been, and they have a forum that I could say, hey, what about this place? Has anybody been there? What would you think? And they will respond. I'll get 30 responses to a place and be able to really curate a trip for a client who's going to a place I haven't even been before.
So what's hot right now? What is the hottest trip?
Italy is on fire. Costa Rica's super popular. Anywhere in the Caribbean is always, because it's easy to get to from most of the United States.
And if somebody wants to, you said that at least 5 to 6 months out for something like that. But a lot of people are hot. They're really hot, and they're getting out. They're already starting now. They want to just get out of town.
Absolutely.
Can you help them with things like that? What kind of different trips do you offer?
Well, as far as my itineraries, my pre-built itineraries, I have 2 Italy trips. I had an Israel trip, but obviously that's indefinitely on hold.
Right.
So those are itineraries that I build, that I host them on, and I take them to places, I call it the Road Less Travel Tour.
How cool is
So
that?
we go to places in Italy. I speak Italian, so I would go to places
You
in
should
Italy.
with your last name.
Yeah, you go Bartimioli. So we take them to places that they wouldn't go.
I love that you do that.
Yeah.
And that's a special trip that you do.
I do.
How many times a year
September
do you do
one's
that?
booked. I have one next May. I don't have the dates memorized, but it'll be on my website soon. And then I'm going to do a Sicily one next October.
Well, if you're gonna go to Italy, he's the guy to go with, that's for sure. You will
Absolutely.
know it, and you'll be able to show him around and show him places that nobody else would, not the typical place that you're gonna go.
Right.
You'll have the different spots that are so hot.
The UK is another hot spot for me because my wife's family's from there, so we've done the same kind of thing, gone to places that people don't usually go.
I think it's really important that if you're gonna go away, to have somebody that can help you make sure the right choices before you go, and don't do it yourself. You're wasting time. That phone number to call again is 602-882-8638. His website is travelwithme-allen, ALLENB.com.